And for the United States, for example, that's an extra $38 trillion. Why? Because people are not sick and they are more productive. If you extend out lifespan by 10 years, now that's $360-something trillion. These are big numbers. Why? Because our greatest asset as a country is not tech, it's not oil, it's not gold, it's human resource. Adult human productivity is the greatest resource of any country. And there's a problem now. For most of certainly the Western world, the rates of fertility are declining. In 1960, the average person was having many more children. Per 1,000 people, every year there were 25 babies in the United States in 1960. Now it's around 10 babies per 1,000 people. For the first time, more than half of the American states produced fewer babies than people died. Half of the United States is declining in population. So we have less and less people to do the work. So there are only two solutions: replace them with robots or keep people alive and healthy. The other problem is there's very little research into aging. Okay? In the United States, which puts the most research dollars into aging, you can see on this graph it's only 500 million compared to many billions of dollars to target individual diseases. But as I told you, if you target individual diseases, you're not going to extend lifespan by very much. You need to tackle all of the processes at once. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of biology lesson, because it's very important that you understand why we can now tackle aging when we couldn't do this even 5 years ago. We can tackle aging because we now believe we understand why we age. And it's not wear and tear. It's not that we just wear out like a car. Our bodies are not like cars. Our bodies are more like computers that can be programmed and reprogrammed and rebooted to be young again. And this graph from my good colleague and friend Stephen Horvath, Professor Stephen Horvath, showed that you can even measure changes, chemical changes on our DNA, in our blood or anywhere. We can take a cheek swab from our mouth and we can measure how old we are, not by our birthdays, which is called chronological age, but by how fast our body is getting older. We call this our biological age. And there's a very specific measure for how old we are biologically. And these are chemicals that get changed on the DNA. Our DNA is not pure, it's not just clean. It gets chemicals added on and off as we get older, and we can measure those with sequencing machines and predict not just how old somebody is, but more importantly, how sick they will be in the future and even when they will die. And in the United States, you can buy a kit and take a cheek swab or take a blood sample, and the company will tell you how old you are biologically and how long you might live if you don't change your health. And you can see on this graph, some people are much younger than others, even if they have the same birthday. Now, this is the theory that comes from my lab at Harvard. It's called the information theory of aging, and this is the idea that we are like computers, not machines. One analogy